Bhuafáilteach ag music at Madden Slipsa Lynette Faye. This is a weekly podcast where I chat to traditional musicians about life and music, and the conversation can take us anywhere. And the podcast drops every Monday. Listen wherever you get your podcasts, and you can watch on YouTube as well. And please do subscribe or leave a comment and share with your friends if you like what you're hearing or watching. And if you're watching on YouTube, the eagle eyes amongst you might notice that we are not this week in Madden's. No, and Madden's on the move. That's what my guest today has just said. We've swapped the snug in Belfast for the comfort of Canavan's in Garvaghy in County Tyrone, where the first ever Tyrone Tradfest is happening. So, and this is the first time for us bringing music at Madden's on the road, or music at Madden's on the move, and hopefully it's the first of many. So if you would like us to come to your festival, do drop us a message on Instagram and we'll chat and see if we could make it happen. Now this week we're tapping into the local talent here up in these parts, and there's no shortage of it, I have to say. We welcome a Sean-Nós dancer to the podcast, Arlene McCarroll. It is great to have you on Music at Madden's. Welcome.
Lynette, thank you. Sure, it's great to get a wee chat, isn't it?
Oh, sure. You know, better moment for the chat, Arlene.
Yes.
And thank you very much for Madden's on the move. That was a great wee tip. Now,
I love
thank
that.
you. Yeah.
That just kind of come out.
Yeah.
So most of the stuff I say, so that's a warning. Just was out of me before I know it. But
You were just a few minutes ago finished up a workshop here at Tyrone Tradfest. How did it go?
Unbelievable. It was some crack. There was about 15 people and they come in a bit sort of shy and withdrawn to start, and see when we get dancing there, it was like a ceilidh at the end. At 3 o'clock I was like, I actually have to go here. But there's still a couple of them up there chatting. It was absolutely brilliant. Really good.
What prompted them to go to the workshop? Were these complete learners, novices, just curious about dancing, or would they have any kind of experience?
A mixture of both. Some people had saw it advertised and just thought, I've never heard of that style of dancing, I want to try it out. Others were at the amazing concert last night with the McKennas on Peter Street. It was class. So I had jumped up and did a few steps at it, and then they were saying to me, is there room at the workshop tomorrow? And I said, come on ahead. And then other people had seen Sean-Nós but had never given it a go themselves, saw it on the TV, maybe the likes of their Oculus and that, and yeah, so it was just catering for everybody really, but most people had never really danced much Sean-Nós, so it was a beginner class as such, but they're not beginners leaving.
You know, it's mad you say that, because the Oculus, that being the biggest arts festival in the country for Irish language and the Irish language arts. And Sean-Nós dancing, particularly the single dancing, I didn't know that existed until I went to college in Galway.
Yes.
And then you're surrounded by it, and then I remember the first time I saw the brush dance, Arlene, and I mean, I could not believe what I was seeing. So it was one of those things where I didn't think that was part of us or something that we did in this part of the world, you know, given that I'm from Tyrone as well.
Yes.
So how did you come to it? How did you get into it?
Well, it's interesting you say that, because I didn't learn it in Tyrone. You know, it's one of them things where I had to go further afield. So I am the youngest of 4 children. I have 2 brothers and a sister older than me, but they're a right bit older than me in terms of where we fell. So I was taken to everything with mummy and daddy. My mother and father. They had no choice. So I was brought to all these things. My mother and father are set dancers. So when I was still too wee to be left at home, they took me everywhere with them. So there was a festival in Cavanagh for years, dancing in the Drumlins, took place in January. And there was always a Sean-Nós dancing workshop. A lady, Kathleen McGlynn, unbelievable dancer. And I used to be just fired into that workshop. And then the likes of Milltown Malby, you know, the likes of those workshops run for a week. Drumshambo, it runs for a week. Skull Eggsha at the Fla. So, you know, when it comes to dancing in Tyrone, it's not that we have a particular style of Sean-Nós dancing. It's anybody that's dancing in Tyrone has probably went further afield to learn different styles, the likes of Connemara and that down in Galway. So everyone's style is so different, you know what I mean?
So then whenever you are teaching dancing, have you got a particular style or a particular area that you kind of zone in on?
I would say my style would be closest to the Connemara style of dancing, and that's simply just because I find myself attracted to those steps, you know, where they feel most natural to me. With Sean-Nós, it's such an expressionate type of dance that, you know, some people dance lighter on their feet and some people are more down their heels, you know, especially the Clare dancers are down on their heels a lot, and I think it's just whatever feels right for you. And with the music you're dancing to too, you know, if I'm dancing to a solo fiddle player, you tend to be a wee bit lighter. But if you're dancing to like a full Ceilidh band there, the Black Water or whatever, you know, the heels are out. It just kind of depends. So styles differ, I find, depending on the music you're dancing to.
Okay. And then, like, say, for example, whenever you jumped up last night with Peter Street or the McKennas when they were playing.
Yeah.
You know, what style are you getting into there? Or, what, you know, how do you just decide what steps you're going to dance to particular music?
I suppose the way I look at it is your feet are like another instrument. So I look at it as, I don't really like dancing in front of the musicians. I'll often try and get like to the side of the stage so that I can kind of keep an eye on them, but I'm still forward enough that the audience can see me.
Yes.
Because I think you're an accompaniment, really. You know, although people are watching your steps, to me it's all about the rhythm, and I would rather just be like almost like a boron in there where you're feeding that rhythm and feeding off their energy rather than coming out and saying, okay, these are the 10 steps I'm going to do, you know, as a performance. I think you just kind of feed off the music that you're listening to. And like with Keelan McGrath and that in Peter Street, they were unbelievable. There's no thinking for me to it. I just kind of go with how I feel, and that's the lovely thing about Sean-Nós dancing.
So it's kind of intuitive.
Totally intuitive. Now, the likes of the day when you're teaching a workshop, you do have to kind of break things down into steps that people can learn, you know, so that they have something to go away and practice. The same you would with a tune. But, you know, the idea would be that you're creating your own steps based on the rhythm that you hear through the music you're dancing to, if that makes sense.
It does. It makes complete sense. And I love the Sean-Nós, the freestyle, and I love how it's all very complimentary, that you feel like you're adding something very much to what's going on already. Yeah. So then you also play, but you're obviously highly musical to be able to do this, and you play the accordion as well. So you're from Fintona.
Yes.
Was there much music around you growing up?
Yes, there absolutely was. And Nuala Sweeney had taught a lot of music and still continues to do so in Fintona. So there's been a lot of music. I was very, very lucky. Whereas, like I mentioned, my brothers, James and Stephen, and my sister Claire, the music wasn't, as I would say, cool when they were growing up. But I was just at that age where it was starting to become cool again. So there was lots of music around us, you know. And so I had been Irish dancing around the same time that I was learning traditional music.
Right.
And it was sort of, I was at a stage where I was in everything but the crib, and I was like, if I don't stick to something, I'm gonna stick to nothing.
Yeah.
So the Irish dancing kind of got the back seat because I found that traditional music and Sean-Nós dancing marry really, really well. You know, it was either you're getting to the session on Friday night or you're going to the feis on Sunday, and I just physically couldn't fit in both. So I find that with Sean-Nós dancing, you're at a session playing your music, and then you can jump up and do a lot of steps and sit back down again, and that's what I love about that. So for me, they worked really, really well.
That's brilliant. And then your fitness, I would say, has to be really at its peak if you're dancing all the time. Like, anybody knows if they get up and dance and do anything, you know, everybody's watching Strictly. It's what, a minute and a half, 90 seconds each dance. You try to do some of the dancing they're doing and you're out of breath. You're totally out of puff. And it's the same thing with what you're doing. It's so physical.
It is physical. It definitely is. I don't look at it like a workout though, I suppose. You know, it's definitely low impact, that sort of way. Sean-Nós dancing isn't very high off the ground or anything like that. All the rhythm is coming from your feet. Yeah. And, you know, I have people that are in their 80s that are coming to some of my classes down in Tunola, and they, you know, they mightn't be doing shuffles or Connemara steps. They might be doing step 2, 3 and step 2, 3. And it's so adaptable depending on what you're able to do. So there's no right or wrong. I always say that. And there's no you know, posture and things like that aren't really that important. It's more about rhythm. If you're making the rhythm with your feet, you can be dancing at any age, really.
That's fantastic. Yeah. And do you see particular ages coming to the dancing? Like, what's the demographic of the people you teach?
It ranges, honestly, from about 5 or 6. There are some younger ones as well, but it's sort of like an introduction to rhythm rather than dancing for now. But anything right up to people in their 80s, yeah. And when you go to Ceilidh's, you'll see people of all ages dancing, the likes of set dancing too. But it would be fitness in a way. I just think people don't look at it like that a lot, but it would be brilliant for your mobility, you know, for your strength, everything like that.
Yeah, because your core has to be strong as well, doesn't it? Yeah.
Oh, it does. It definitely does. And even coordination and mobility and just things like that, you know, it definitely does lend itself well. And it's just about, like I say, feeling the music and relaxing, and you will feed off the energy of other people dancing and other musicians. So that is all helping in your fitness too.
It's all win-win, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then what about kids and getting kids into Sean-Nós dancing? Because you mentioned yourself you were an Irish dancer.
Yes.
And, you know, there are schools of Irish dancing.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a given and a rite of passage that some, you know, in some places where we girls and boys have to go to the Irish dancing. I think like our age group, certainly, Arlene, I think everybody had a go at Irish dancing and worked out very quickly whether or not they had two left feet. That was the case that's exactly what happened to me. But where your dancing's concerned, do you find people, is there a curiosity about it?
I think so. I think it's more people that have played traditional music. You know, it's a lot of musicians, in terms of children, it's musicians that are coming to the Sean-Nós dancing because they'll have saw dancers at the flat on the street and things like that. When you have wee outdoor sessions, you'll see children dancing and they'll be thinking, what's that type of dancing? So generally it's people with a musical background, but it doesn't have to be. It's just that, like I say, it lends itself well to traditional music. But I have children that have done no dancing at all. But if you have rhythm at all, you'll pick it up really, really easily. Because, like I said, I would never say that step's not right or that's wrong. A child might be dancing more on the balls of their feet, that's their style. Another child might be more down on their heels, getting their rhythm through there. And that's their own interpretation. And I love that about it, that it's just so individual and there's no right or wrong, you know.
There's a lot of freedom in that. And then do you find it very empowering to be able to dance?
Oh, I do, you know, and it's just another way of enjoying the music. You know, when you're sitting at a session or something and you're clapping along, how you feel good in yourself. Because for me, I get that from dancing. You know, I'm not actually concerned about who's watching me. I kind of forget that you're being watched, if you know what I mean. I am just so solely focused on the music, you know, and just fully immersed in it. And that's what I love about it.
And is there a particular type of music that you love dancing to?
Any good reels. Any good reels. It can't be quick enough for me. I love fast reels. But in terms of musicians, anybody, honestly, I really, really do. I love Keely band music. I love set dancing as well. So the likes of Keely bands and things like that. Concertinas, melodeons, accordions, and that's probably just coming from my background in music for enjoying that style of music. But the odd time, you know, I might, when I'm waiting on children to come in, I might throw on Martin Hayes and just have a wee bit of an exploration around that style of music. It's softer and, again, like a man that really feels the music.
Yeah.
And you can feel that energy. So I'm trying to adapt things to that, you know. But in terms of sessions and stuff, it'll be generally jumping up for reels and jigs.
Right, so it's always a high energy, high impact sort of stuff. Yeah, you can get that. So we've talked then about your workshops and getting to the music or how you came to the dancing. And then you have the fact that you're also a musician, and you went to Australia there for a couple of years.
I did.
Whenever you are so, because with something like Sean-Nós dancing,
I know,
that's connecting you in a big, big way.
Absolutely.
To home, to Ireland, to tradition, to heritage, everything. What was the draw to Australia?
It was one of those things. I thought, if I don't do this now, I'll never do it, because my life is so rooted around music and dance. I always know that that's a part of me. I knew I would never settle away from home, but I still wanted to explore, if that makes sense. Yeah. And I just thought, I was at that age, I was 2019, so it was just like, if I don't do this now, I'll never do it. And I knew there was such good music around the world too, so I wasn't leaving it behind. But my brother's living in Melbourne at the time, and so he'd been living there for like 10 years. And I was just thought, if myself and Fimber don't go now, well, we never will. So we went in October 2019. Yeah.
And then what was it like when going over there? Did you just fall into, you know, the I suppose what happens an awful lot of people, you fall into the Irish community or you seek out the Irish community.
100%, yes. We did. The first thing I did was Googling sessions in Melbourne, you know, like where are we going to play music? And we were so pleasantly surprised. There was plenty of music every night of the week if you really wanted it, if you look hard enough, which is like most major cities now around the world, which is great. But yeah, we definitely did. Now, apart from school, there was two other Irish teachers and myself, but we just started together. But again, all my friends and that were Irish too, you know.
Brilliant. So you slotted right in then, did you?
Yes, we did, yeah.
And then did you then start your classes and that there as well?
I didn't teach classes. I taught a few workshops here and there, but again, with just my work, school was a bit different, and it took me a early start, so you're away to school 4-7. It was probably 7 before you were home, and I kind of wanted to just use the weekends to go and visit the beaches and go up to Byron Bay and over to Sydney and all of that. So I didn't do it as much as I would have liked. But then, of course, when lockdown hit, there was a lot more music being played and things like that. So
I think I remember talking to you around the time of lockdown,
yes.
and I think was there call to sessions or something online? You were all doing that to keep in touch with each other?
Yes.
With home as well?
Adele McBride was in Sydney at the time, and
yes.
I was in Melbourne. I think the three of us were in touch.
Yes.
Yeah, look, I listened to a lot of music, and luckily Finbar plays the fiddle too, so we would have played a bit. I didn't bring my accordion, my good accordion, out with me. Daddy was like, "You're leaving that at home because if something happened, exactly." So as soon as things were getting sketchy in terms of lockdown and that, I reached out to Martin Quinn. I bought a wee accordion. I was like, the lightest thing that you have, and got it sent over, and I made it just in time, thank God. So
fantastic.
Yeah, I know. So it was a lifesaver. Oh, there was plenty of music in our house then because we lived with my brother, and he learnt the boron and all in this time. Like, it was great crack in the evening.
I don't believe you.
Yeah,
and look, seriously, whenever the accordion arrived, and it arrived just in time, as you say.
Yeah, just in time.
Why was that such a lifeline?
Because otherwise, I don't know what I would do. It's just such a part of your life. When I play music in the evenings, like, the time just goes. Do you know what I mean? Like, Finbar especially, he'll never put the fiddle in the case. It always sits out. And you could go into the house after school some evening and be like, this house is in darkness, and he's in playing the fiddle. He wouldn't have even noticed that it's got dark. You know, I just think it's such an important hobby and pastime for me and for himself that if we didn't have that, we would have missed that connection with home a lot too. You know, if we didn't have our instruments there.
Yeah, I can see that. And then starting your family band there with your brother.
I don't know if he's played any since now. It might have been just a bit of a whim. It's like the banana breads that we're going round. Banana breads and borons all round.
Banana breads and borons. Love it. This week's Music at Madden's is brought to you by Tyrone Trad, the team behind Tyrone Tradfest, the first musical festival of its kind in a county that is mad for traditional music. Clean mad, as they'd say around these parts. The festival is based in the heart of the county in Ballygawley, and Tyrone Tradfest aims to celebrate all that is good about the music of Tyrone through concerts and workshops, plenty of sessions, and also the characters who make the music come alive. And it will be back next year, first weekend of December 2026, the 4th, 5th and the 6th. Make sure that Tyrone Tradfest is in the diary. Up Tyrone! In the heart of Tyrone, Canavan's is a really convenient stop-off or destination. It boasts 3 function rooms, a bar, restaurant, plenty of parking, and big plans for the months ahead. Extra accommodation and a fitness and recovery suite are coming in 2026. So check out Canavan's of Garvaghy on Instagram for up-to-date menus and offers. In Australia, and the anniversary's coming up now, in December, Finbar had a really bad accident, Arlene.
Yes.
It was a motorbike accident.
Yeah, it was.
And he broke his leg.
He did.
But then it was more than broke his leg.
know.
He had loads of work on the leg, and then he had to have it amputated from the knee down.
Yes.
Was it?
Oh, from above the knee. Aye. So that was a lot. So in 2021, we'd been there 2 years, and we'd decided our time was up. We were coming home, and then Finbar was in the motorbike crash. At that time, then we had to delay our coming home, and I had stopped my work and stuff. I'd handed in my notice in school, but then we realised Finbar was going to have to stay here for another while, and the trad community just came together. It was unbelievable. There was fundraisers and everything done, and it was all live streamed from to home, and everyone at home could see that, and it was just unbelievable. And again, music was a lifeline there for me. But going forward and back, we went home for a couple of years, back again to Australia, and in that time, in those 2 years, there was a bar I'd set up called the Antique Bar in Melbourne. And when Fimber was in the hospital, he was going through his amputation, and I was only allowed in to see him every couple of days or whatever. And I had no structure, no routine, because we were on medical visas, so I wasn't working. And I had no, as a teacher, you're timetabled, and that's how I work anyway. I like being structured. I need my routine. And this session was on every Sunday, and that just kept me going, you know. And Fimber was friendly with the ones in there too, and they were just amazing. It was just a bit of routine, and they weren't asking, and how's Fimber getting on? How is it? You just, well, Arlene, how are you? Sit down and play a lot of tunes, and that was their way of being there for us without saying it, you know.
You needed that bit of normality at a time that was anything but.
Oh, completely, and it really helped us feel connected to home, because for me, when I closed my eyes in a session, I could be anywhere, you know, and it just so felt like that. The session was for 2 hours, but it was never 2 hours. It was 3, 4, 5 hours, went on all evening. And those people, to me, they don't realise how important they were for helping me get through that time, you know, for that bit of normality and just that structure and just being there for you in a different way.
Yeah, because that's the thing, when something unpredictable like that happens to you in life, you know, if it happens to a person, the people around them sometimes are the forgotten ones, you know, because you're there on the sidelines. You know, you love Fimber, you do anything for him, but you're trying to cope with this yourself as well and stay strong for him, for yourself. And, you know, music just helped you through that time, Arlene.
It completely filled my cup, because so many people said that to me, you know, you need to look after yourself. And I was like, how do I look after myself? This is so, I'm not near my friends, my family. We were, you know, fighting it really tough that way. But that Sunday evening, honestly, I was like, this is my wee time. I've nowhere to be. Just enjoy this. And that just reset me for the week again, you know. And then, of course, sending wee videos to Fimber when he's in the hospital. He was in there for 6 months, you know, between operations and rehab. And to just send him on clips and all, or like, here's Dan, the concertina of the day, there's this one. He just loved to see that, you know.
And I don't want to ask you to speak for Fimber. Okay. He's not here, obviously, but how is he now? I saw on social media he had signed up for the Omaha Marathon. Like, he got the blade.
Yes, he's running blade.
So he's got a running blade. He's back at fitness.
Yeah.
And like, he's quite an incredible, remarkable person, and the amount of drive he has and the mental strength he has is incredible. So he signed up for the Omaha Marathon, and he didn't go through with it, but he's back running and doing like 5Ks on his blade.
So he's upped it now. There's news. That was last year. He never got doing the Omaha because he was having a bit of bother with the socket, but he's doing it this year. He's well up on 10K now.
Oh, wow.
And that's not to next March. So please God, if everything's going the way it is, he'll be doing Omaha.
Because that's the breakthrough. Once you get the 10K, you know, then it's within grasp. You could do it like.
Totally. I've done it twice. I said I'd never do it again, but here I can't just stand on the sidelines and clap him along. I may do it once more. But I'll do it with him for the crack. But, you know, any of the training plans I've done, the 10K doesn't really be till about February time. This is if you're going from your 5K to your half marathon. It's always in around February you're hitting your 10K. So he's hitting that comfortably now, which is brilliant. But, you know, Lynette, people do comment on that and say, I don't want to speak for Fimber either. I'm proud to say that he is very mentally strong, but that's a testament to the people around him. You know, again, just to go back to the music people, here, like the fundraisers that were done, you know, Wheels and Jigs, Maggie and Mickey Kerr have organised that for years. It's such an important thing that I look forward to every year. They did it for Fimber to get him back to Australia, to get his amputation. You know, people don't realise that any wee thing that they do has such a massive impact on others, and we're forever grateful for that. And just the community and the connection with traditional music, people are always there for you. It's unbelievable. Oh, we're so lucky.
That's gorgeous. And that the Wheels and Jigs, that's Maggie McGuire and Mickey Kerr, as you say, and they cycle from Dromore down to Milltown Malby every year. Brilliant. And there's a different charity every single year.
Yeah, we have the best crack. Maggie's good crack will be probably about 100 mile in, you know, the last day, and Maggie will be like, jump up there now and do a step. My legs are gone. I still have 100 mile to do tomorrow. But no, we do. We honestly have the best crack. I say I missed it last year, but I can't wait to get back at it because we just have such a fun time. And I couldn't imagine driving to Milltown now. I'd feel like I'm cheating. It's the only way to go.
On the bike.
I know, on the bike. We take 2 days at it now, but it takes it all.
Oh my gosh.
But it's great fun. It is so good. And to be able to do it for people, but you know, it's nearly quite a sad thing to say, but you never have to look too hard to find a charity to do it for or a person to do it for any year. And it just shows you the people are going through so much, but every year this group of people come back and work together, and they're having a crack. They're raising money for a brilliant causes as an offset of it, and just why would you stop that? Like, it's brilliant.
Oh, here.
Yeah.
And you've just such a great bunch there
Yeah.
who take part in that. I know you're all really close buddies. And a couple of years ago, I was emceeing the gigs in the summer in Doonalla.
Yes.
And I remember you coming one evening and you jumped up on the stage for a step with one of your nieces, I think.
Yes.
It was yourself and your niece along with more or less the Knockmore Killy band.
Yeah.
And it was just a really gorgeous energy, Arlene, because I could see you looking at her.
Uh-huh.
And you were buzzing because she was brilliant.
Yes.
But I could see that on you, that you were just, that was all it takes for you, is to see somebody else enjoying dancing as much as you love it.
Oh, absolutely. I love to see, I was saying the wee ones, it's not just wee ones, adults. I love to see people enjoying themselves through dance. And even just to go back to that workshop today, you know, a lot of people were quite stiff at the start. And at the end, we were swinging and cahoing and yoing and just totally letting go, letting your mind just be free of things. When you're concentrating on dancing or you're concentrating on music, you don't have time to worry about anything else. You can't let other things in. And I just think it's like a meditation in a different way.
Yeah, because it's a lesson in mindfulness, isn't it?
Absolutely. Because you've that to focus on, you know, you can't think about anything else. And I just think it's a lovely way to be immersed in something else.
But also, is it a very, it must be very flattering for you, for people to come to your class as well, especially Sean-Nós dancing, because you're dancing on your own. So there's no support network there. It's not a group dance. When there's a group dance, you know, it doesn't depend on you being singled out. You can make mistakes. It doesn't matter. Nobody's really watching you.
Yeah.
There's a vulnerability with dancing on your own, isn't there? Is that something you have to handle with people?
I suppose it's in certain styles of dancing, or if you were doing a certain step, you know, I'm like, oh, I'm actually going to record that again because I don't like the way I did that. But if it's an impromptu performance, there's no real way of saying, oh, I didn't do that right or I did do that wrong. I just kind of go with it. I don't think too much about what I'm doing, which is very hard when you're trying to teach someone. When I'm like, I'm not thinking about what I'm doing there, when they will call you out and say, what did you do there? Will you break that down? I'm like, oh, did you take a video of it? Because I need to see exactly what it is. But I try not to, Lynette. I think it would be very bad of me to say, oh, I don't like the way I did that. And then, because other people will become conscious or self-conscious about the way they're dancing if I did that. Whereas I just kind of let go and not worry too much about it and hope that other people do the same.
So it's just all about the fun.
It's all about the crack.
And then do you also think that dancing is, and you know, even having the workshops, having classes to go to, you're dealing with the epidemic of loneliness that we are coming through at the minute as well, where there's that sense of community, and it's a bit like you go to take you back to your session in the Antique Bar in Australia, where you've got that focus for the week and then will get you by.
Yeah, that's it. You know, that class on a Monday evening, I have people there that maybe have lost partners, and that's their only reason to get out of the house, you know. And sometimes when winter classes come, I be thinking, God, I could stay in the house myself, very handy. But see, when I get there and see people who are taking so much from it, I try to teach classes that I'm catering for people who are very high energy and people who just want out of the house, and you take from that what you want. Because the thing about Sean-Nós dancing is, you know, I love to see when people who are dancers that maybe aren't necessarily musicians but have a great interest in music come to a session and then get up and dance. And that's their part. They want to take part, but they haven't learned an instrument, and they might feel that they aren't in a position to take on an instrument at a certain age or wherever they're at in their life. And I have people that now go to sessions and they'll just jump up and do a step and they'll sit back down again, and they feel really included, and that's what it's all about. The community between traditional music, dance and singing, as you say, the Irish language, is all so connected, and everyone's always welcome at all of these events, really.
Yeah. And connection is something I think that we are beginning to understand is extremely valuable as we move more and more towards, everything being digital, everything being online. That human connection, though, is going to see us through.
That's it. And I think with dancing and music, you can't chat GBT that. It takes time. It takes resilience.
It's a true skill.
Oh, absolutely. And, there's things in a step and you're like, I can't get that. But if you work hard at it, you don't get the instant gratification that you do in other areas of your life, music and dancing and things like that. You do have to work hard at to break through certain barriers, and I think it shows that hard work pays off too. In a time where a lot of things can be found out or figured out at the touch of a button. It can't really with traditional music and dancing, especially, to go on to music, learning by ear.
Yeah.
People would say, I was chatting to a woman there just at the end of the workshop, and she was saying, I can't learn by ear. It's a really, really hard thing to do, to move if you've been learning by notes, to go to ear. But once you get that, when you're sitting in a session, say the tune's played 2 times round, by the time the third time comes round, you're starting to get it. So it is an important skill, but it's one that needs work done.
Yeah. And you're talking there about about community, and the community you're from, Cavanagh, in Tyrone now, it's recognised as one of the strongest traditional music communities.
Yeah.
Have you been there to witness that growth? Has that been part of your life, to witness that growth?
Yes, I have. Now, I missed the County Fla in 2024. We were still in Australia with Finbar, but when I come back last year, I was so excited to be just back and involved and help out at the Fla, and it was just unbelievable. They're running a lot of like multi-instrumental workshops and stuff where we have people, musicians from all over, that'll come and teach like the teenagers, the ones that are maybe not needing to be at a class every week, but that are interested in learning from different styles and learning sets and things like that. We have a John McCann, George McAdam, Shauna Cullen, and they're picking up tunes from everywhere, and it's so lovely, and the workshops are sold out in minutes, so Finna's definitely got plenty of music and dancing and all.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah,
Just
it's great.
The growth, and I think what you're seeing now there at Tradfest then this weekend is again building on those really strong foundations that have been laid by the Fintna Cultus, and then we were also talking to the McKennas on the podcast as well, and things that they've been doing as a family.
Yeah.
Everybody's contribution is kind of building towards a weekend like this where you see it all coming together.
And it's the weekends that make your friends and things like that.
Yeah.
Like you were talking about the McKennas. Eugene McKenna is one of my oldest friends. Eugene and myself and James there and Kieran McKeever and that, we had been brought up through music, and you don't see each other every day the way you would your school friends. But these festivals that continue every year, you look forward to seeing these people, on monthly and yearly and annual basis. It's unbelievable. So I think it's just such an important connection to have with other people. It's unreal.
So what next for the dancing for you now that you're home? And Finbar continues to go from strength to strength.
Yes.
So you're kind of building, and you got married recently enough as well.
Yes, I married last year. Christmas last year is the quickest year ever.
Oh, gorgeous!
I know, it was deadly.
So now that you've all those things done, and
Yeah.
it's time to kind of really look to the future. So where do you see your dancing going?
I just want to share Sean-Nós dancing as much as I can with people who are interested in it, really. I'm ready for any road. I'll go anywhere, Lynette. No road long enough. But no, I love the set dancing too. I'm kind of delving into it. As I say, my mother and father are set dancers. I would jump in into a set with daddy or something and do a bit. Now, I've taught 4 weeks in Fintna, and I've told them, I'm like, I am no professional here at set dancing. I am learning before I come in here, but they're just interested in learning. So I hope that, the Sean-Nós and the set dancing all just goes from strength to strength. I love performing at different, at different events and teaching. I like the performance side of it,
Yeah.
and I like the teaching side of it. So for me, if I continue doing that, I'd be more than happy. And just to see more Sean-Nós happening around Tyrone, Fermanagh, and on Ulster too, to see more dancing happening, you know. Be
Yeah,
great.
well, it'll be down to you, I'd say, in no short measure, to see the whole thing bloom and blossom in the years to come. Arlene, it's been great to chat to you today. Thank you so
Thank
much
you, Lynette. It was brilliant.
for music at Madden's on the move from Canavans this week
Class.
in the heart of Tyrone. Thanks so much, Garvaghy.
For my